This is Jack Rice for Talk Radio, Talk Media News Service here at the Capitol. President Obama just finished his State of the Union speech. So what does this mean? I'm here with Congressman Lujan from New Mexico. Congressman, thank you very much.
No, it's an honor to be here. I'll tell you, it was exciting to hear from the president as he reminded the American people not only how we got into the mess that we're in today, and reminding the American people that he is listening. You know, he spoke very clearly, and he talked about how unpopular the TARP was, the bailout with the big banks, and it was, because not only did they keep the money and they put the profits into their pockets and gave these big bonuses out, they didn't extend the credit to the small folks, to
that was the perception from a lot of people that, wait a second, if you're going to give them this money, why aren't you actually requiring them to do X, Y, or Z at the same time? I mean, I've talked to people all over the country who've asked that very same question. And so what it feels like is a bunch of money going out to these banks who blew apart in the first place, and the rest of middle America with 10.2% unemployment are looking around going, wait a second, how about me?
You're absolutely right. And, you know, when they put the TARP together under the previous Congress, they failed to include the provisions that would make sure that the money could go to the small banks, could go to community banks, could make its way to small businesses. And those are things that we have to fix. I wasn't real happy with the TARP when I got elected to Congress this last year, and we rejected that proposal. It didn't have the regulatory requirements in there to make sure it's going to get to small banks. And, you know, getting a chance to visit with Nita Velasquez, who's the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, as well as the chair of the Small Business Committee, she reminded us of that. And not only is she working on provisions, but tonight we heard the president very directly speak that to be able to use $30 billion that was going to the big banks, to make sure we channel that to the small banks. But not only do that, make sure that we're looking to create the tax incentives and the tax credits for small businesses to get them hiring, to let them grow, to let these entrepreneurs build opportunities and build businesses. You know, that's what we need to make sure we're looking back towards, is the real people that are doing the work, putting people first, that are going to rebuild the country. And it has to start with small business. And I was really excited to hear the president highlight so many ideas tonight, so many ideas that not only we included in the recovery, but ideas that we can build on and go forward with.
One of the big issues he's talked about was this freeze over 3 years. Some certainly on the Democratic side of the aisle are saying, well, wait a second, I'm confused by this. If we're talking about stimulating the economy, how is it that you put the brake on the economy while you put the gas on the economy? How do you do both of those things?
Well, I think the president also outlined very clearly the efficiencies that we have to find, programs that aren't working, and making sure that we're supporting in programs that are working. He also encouraged the Senate to adopt the House pay-go provisions to make sure that they're looking to be as responsible as House Democrats were. And we certainly encourage and we invite the House Republicans to join us so that way we can be responsible going forward. Not just for this Congress, but for Congresses going forward. That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to do to be responsible.
One last question for you, and I appreciate so much time here. There's a real question now on where President Obama should take his presidency with the win of Scott Brown in Massachusetts. I mean, it's changed the whole dynamic. You've been here for the 1 year. You've seen this shift in the middle of it. Some are saying he should move to the right or the center, depending on how you see it. Others are saying, wait a second, you should move actually more progressively, more aggressively in that sense. What do you think?
Well, I can tell you that I'm a very progressive member, as we look to make sure that we're doing right by the American people, putting them first. But what the win in Massachusetts does is it doesn't necessarily put the onus on anyone else except for the Senate and the Senate Republicans, because now they can't blame 60 members that are doing one thing. They need to step up and do things in a leadership role, and we expect them to do big things.
Congressman, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.